Good morning, everyone. My name is a Senior Human Resources Director in the hospitality industry, and it's a real pleasure to be speaking with you today. We're going to be exploring something that is, without a doubt, reshaping our entire industry, and that's the powerful intersection of artificial intelligence, inclusion, and what's next for hospitality. And a very warm welcome, specifically to all of you, the students of the Europe Hotel School. You are the future leaders. And believe me, understanding what we're about to cover today isn't just helpful, it's going to be absolutely essential for your careers. So together, let's explore this critical evolution in how we build and lead our teams. So, here's our roadmap for this session. I've broken it down into 5 key parts. First, we'll look at why we need to move beyond simple representation. Then, we'll get into how we can create action plans that are actually driven by data. After that, we'll connect the dots to how this all drives revenue. We'll also touch on the specific EHS Lending approach, and we'll wrap up by talking about why this is a continuous journey, not a one-and-done task. All right, let's jump right in. For decades, the conversation about diversity in our hotels was really just about one thing: numbers, representation. But for you, as modern leaders, the standard is so much higher. We have to move past simply counting heads and start truly measuring the experience people are having at work. This slide really says it all, doesn't it? The old way of doing things was basically just taking attendance. It told you who was on your team. But the modern approach, the one you'll be champions of, is all about measuring the experience. It's about using real data to quantify that feeling of belonging, because that is the real engine of a great team. So you're probably wondering, how on earth do you measure a feeling? Well, we do it with a very specific key performance indicator, or KPI, called an inclusion score. An AI calculates this score by looking at all kinds of data, from surveys to our internal HR systems. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as a GPS for your culture. It tells you exactly where you are, so you can figure out how to get where you need to go. Now, any good GPS needs a detailed map, and for us, that map is built on these 6 pillars of inclusion. These are the absolute cornerstones of a healthy culture. The system is constantly asking, are managers seen as fair? Does everyone have a real shot at career development? Is the workplace safe, both physically and psychologically? Is there flexibility? Is our recruitment process fair? And maybe most importantly, is there a baseline of professional respect for everyone? If even one of these pillars is weak, you get what I call a culture leak, and that can sink the ship. Okay, so having this GPS is fantastic, but a map doesn't do you any good if you don't actually start driving. And that's what this next section is all about. It's about taking those insights and turning them into real, measurable impact. Let me walk you through a real-world scenario. Let's say the AI is running its analysis on one of our big flagship hotels, and it flags an issue. It finds a problem, not with our guest service, but with our internal leadership pipeline. And here's what it finds. Look at that number. What's so powerful here is the precision. The old way might have given us a vague report saying, some employees feel disconnected, but this is a surgeon's scalpel. It tells us that underrepresented groups in a specific department, the front office, feel they have a full 25% less access to leaders. Now that is something we can actually work on. And this is where the magic really happens. Instead of the HR team sitting around a table guessing what might work, the AI's recommendation engine gives us a proven action plan. It suggests concrete steps, like pairing junior staff with senior mentors, using blind reviews for promotions so bias can't creep in, or having the general manager set up dedicated office hours. These aren't just random ideas, they're targeted fixes for a very specific problem. Okay, now we get to the conversation that every general manager and hotel owner wants to have. This is where we take this topic out of the HR department and place it firmly in the boardroom, where it belongs. We're going to connect a great internal culture directly to the hotel's bottom line. I'm asking you this question directly because I promise you'll be asked this throughout your careers. Is all this work on inclusion just a nice to have, the right thing to do, or is it a cold, hard competitive advantage in the marketplace? Well, the data doesn't just whisper the answer. It screams it. Yes, it is a huge advantage for 3 main reasons. Number 1, innovation. It's a proven fact that diverse teams are better at solving complex problems. For us, that means creating better guest experiences. Number 2, retention. In a tough labor market, it costs a fortune to replace good people. Hotels with high inclusion scores keep their talent. And number 3, reputation. Today's travelers and top job candidates, they look the stuff up. They want to spend their money and build their careers with companies that share their values. I love this quote because it perfectly captures the end goal. You all know what a Michelin star means to a restaurant. You know what a Forbes 5-star rating means to a hotel.
Now, just imagine a world where a hotel's inclusion score carrying that same weight and prestige with the public. That is the future you are all going to help build. And that, of course, brings this all right back to you. Here at AHS London, our approach is designed to train you to be more than just great managers. We are training you to be the next generation of what we call inclusion architects.
So what does being an inclusion architect actually sound like in the real world? It means you don't walk into a leadership meeting and say, I feel like we could be a bit more fair. No way. You walk in with confidence, backed by data, and you say, our AI analysis shows that by implementing a blind promotion review process, we can increase our internal promotion rate for diverse talent by 15%. And then you connect it directly to the financial impact. You finish that sentence by saying, which we project will reduce our recruitment costs by £40,000 a year. That right there, that is the language of modern hospitality leadership. It's precise, it's data-driven, and it gets results. Okay, let's bring this all home with our final section, which is really the guiding principle for all of this work. This is a continuous journey. Our industry's promise is hospitality for all, but that promise is hollow if it doesn't start from within, with our own teams. The goal isn't to hit some perfect score and then, dust off your hands and say, job done. That's not how culture works. The real goal is to create a continuous loop that becomes part of your hotel's DNA. You measure, you take action, you see the improvement, and then you start the cycle all over again. It's a process of constant refinement. This table really sums up the whole shift. It's the before and after picture. We're moving away from things like once-a-year happiness surveys and toward a real-time inclusion score. We're replacing vague goals with hard data-backed KPIs. And maybe the biggest change of all, we are replacing HR guesswork with an AI-powered recommendation engine. This isn't science fiction, everyone. This is the new operational reality. So I will leave you with this one question to think about as you move forward in your studies and into your careers. Look, you're going to be held accountable for a lot of numbers. Revenue, occupancy rates, guest satisfaction scores, and those all matter. But as a true leader, the question that will define your impact is this: how will you measure what truly matters? Thank you so much for your time and attention. I wish you all the very best, and I can't wait to see the incredible things you'll accomplish.